Hello guys, this is Mike from Deathless Gaming, and tonight I'm going to be doing a storm guide.
Someday I'll let you apologize, and I'll accept your apology. I tell you just exactly what I see. I live my life like a guillotine. Hey, I made
Alright, so what's Storm? Well, Storm is one of the minigame modes in Warface for multiplayer. So basically, within 15 minutes, you have to capture all 3 command posts. So I'm going to be giving some tips on that, and also you have to defend for the next 15 minutes those command posts as well. So it's really hard to, play a full game, but it's really enjoying when you do. A lot of the kills, it's one of the probably better than team matches since it lets you respawn a bunch of times, but at the same time you're going for another objective besides just killing each other, so it's really fun. So let's go over some tips for defending Storm, because this is where a lot of people aren't as good as they could be. So how do you defend Storm? Well, a lot of people think, oh, just stay near the base where the guy's going to be running onto the place to capture it. That is kind of good just to have one person to hang back and make sure nobody falls through. But if you don't play proactively, then you're going to lose the base, because people are just going to rush it. And you can kill them, but they'll get like at least 1 second of capture time on it, and then they'll get another second. So you really have to just try to keep them occupied and be extremely proactive. And what do I mean by proactive? Find a really good choke point and choke them off. Now, don't spawn camp, since number 1, the game doesn't really allow it in the mechanics, and number 2, you're going to get killed faster. But go just outside the spawn area and keep them occupied with fighting you right there. Find a good spot where you can hide, and as they come out, try to shoot them and cut them off. Even if they kill you a bunch of times and your KD's horrible, you're going to be keeping them occupied in their spawn zone. They're going to be thinking, gosh, I got to get this guy out of the pathway to the capture point, instead of actually thinking, I gotta get on the capture point, because when they rush to the capture point, they get shot. So if you're on their pathways and blocking them from getting into that capture point, you can be extremely effective. And you want to keep them occupied. You got to be very proactive. You can't just be sitting usually in one place. Now, in this gameplay here, I do 2 things. Number 1, I find this bridge, which is a really good cutoff, and keep them occupied with fighting over this control of the bridge when they really aren't even focusing on capturing the point, which delays them and it eventually makes them lose the game, because they aren't pushing up. They're not thinking, oh, well, maybe I should just go around this guy, shoot him in the back, and then get the point. They're thinking, we got to get control of this bridge, even though it's just one of the few routes, and they're being very occupied with that, which is why I'm defending so well. Now, keep in mind, this does not mean ignore what's going back at your spawn, because that capture point, if somebody's on it, I've had times where everybody's, attacking, trying to cut them off, and then one guy just sits on there for like 20 seconds before somebody kills him. So you always want somebody to hang back, but for the most part, make sure that you are being proactive about your defense. Alright, so game mode switch, now you're attacking. What do you do? Now this is where you really have to, KD is nice and all, kills are nice and all, but you just have to rush as fast as you can onto that capture point. And if you gotta do this hundreds of times, you're gonna get killed a lot, but this is what's gonna win you the game. And plus, if you're a good player, you can kill people on the way. So you just gotta make sure you kill as many people as times you die, but it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, you're gonna win the game. So you just gotta find a pressure point that they're not guarding as much, and attack. Now, if they're guarding a point really well, like a path, like a bridge or another choke point, just find another way around them, or just find a way to flank them and shoot them in the back, and then go on the point. But the point is, find the fastest, quickest way, least minimal exposure to the enemy way to get onto that capture point. And you want to do this as fast as possible. So really, that's all Storm is getting onto that capture point, or keeping the other team from being on that capture point. But the reason a lot of people lose Storm is because they are just not proactive about it. You really have to be proactive about it. And that's pretty much how you win Storm. It's extremely simple, it's extremely fun, but that's how you win. Be proactive no matter what side you're on, if you're on defense or offense. And finally, let's go over some loadouts. So, I'd say Sniper can be good if you're looking for that chokehold point and you can hide and you can just snipe up. Let's say, like when I was on the bridge, I wasn't using Sniper, I was using Rifleman, but the job I was doing, if I was a good sniper, pretty much same role. Medic, if you want to get up in people's face trying to capture the point or want to just do really close quarters combat, that's a good class for that. Engineer's good for like putting claymores on the choke point, hanging back, and then getting up in their face and shooting them. And then Rifleman kind of does most of these roles since they're medium range, at the same time long range. In short, it doesn't really matter which class you play as long as you're playing it well and being proactive about it. Remember, never try to push the same point if it's being well defended. Try to push something else. There's always going to be usually an unguarded path, even with a really good team. And even if you're only the person doing it, try to push for that capture point. One of the things people get confused, I most commonly think, is that they think Storm is a kill streak game, and it's not, it's a capture game. So just remember that, and that's pretty much it, guys. I'll be making some more guides on Warface. Don't forget to like, subscribe. This is Mike from Deathless Gaming, saying goodbye, guys.